What's going on, guys? Greek Freak here, and in this video we're going to be talking about Hassan Whiteside and the fact that he's now asked for a trade request from the Miami Heat. Now, as far as this, I do have, of course, the teams that I think that he does want to go to, and of course a team that I think would make the most sense as far as for the Miami Heat and for this other team to go into. Now, I'll be mentioning that a little bit later, but of course I'm going to tell you directly the situation that is at hand here and why it is the way it is. Now, of course, Hassan Whiteside asking for a trade from the Miami Heat obviously has been complaining about the amount of time that he's been playing, not playing very high, only around in the low 20 minutes per game, and of course wanting a lot more considering the fact his numbers were down. Now, Hassan Whiteside has shown interest in the Charlotte Hornets, of course a North Carolina native as far as where he grew up, so it would make sense the fact that he's interested in somewhere like Charlotte, and of course a team that is very much lacking in depth in that center position, not really having a solid piece at this direct moment. And whenever we also look at that fact of that, we have to look at what his numbers are looking like. Of course, this is why he wants to do it better, so he can show that he can earn another big contract. Now, he's right now currently averaging 12 points per game, around 11 rebounds, 1.9 blocks, 57% from the field goal. And here's the very bad part right here that is why he's really, of course, going to be concerned about this, is his effort in looking into this. Now, he's shooting only 45% from the free throw line. Now, that's a major concern, especially for bigs that don't really shoot free throws that well. But in the case of Hassan Whiteside, the previous season shooting 70% from the free throw line, which is not terrible. But not only that, he's been showing steady improvement for the past 4 years before this upcoming season, where he had only 45% from the free throw. So major concerns as far as his huge drop off in the free throw shooting. And of course his numbers have been depleting. Now, of course, a little bit of that is with the minutes, and many times the Miami Heat just have not really been giving him those situations. He's been asking for those types of moments, but here's his per 36, and this is why I definitely had to take he is an asset if he wants to prove the fact he's worth it. Now, his per 36 for this season would have been 19.1 points per game, 17 rebounds per game, and almost 3 blocks per game. So we know the fact he is a great defender. He's a great shot blocker, defends the basket very well. And that's the major thing. Now, of course, when there's a big man that can shoot a three, that really does draw him off, and that's one of the concerns of why the Miami Heat do not always play him at that much of the contention there. But whenever we look at this, the major reason is he will be opting into his contract at $27 million for this upcoming season. Now, of course, when you're a team like that, you're probably thinking, well, somebody who's, of course, struggling in this way, why would you want to trade for somebody who's going to be owed $27 million? Now, two things. I think the fact that you could easily try to make a move. Now, if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, I'm trying to dump off that Nicholas Batum deal with him, with the Miami Heat, and I'm going to try to, even if I have to, get rid of picks if that means getting rid of that contract. I think that's the major thing holding back this Miami, whenever you're talking about this, that holds back the Charlotte Hornets. Not directly the fact that they're not even drafting that well, but they're tied down to such big contracts to players that obviously don't really need that big of a contract. But whenever you're looking at this, another team, the other team that I think that would be very interesting to definitely see looking into this, I just reported on them yesterday, and that would be the Houston Rockets. Now, the Houston Rockets, now you're probably thinking, well, Chris Paul demanded for a trade request, he probably is going to want to move him. No, actually, I think you need to go with Clint Capella. I think Chris Paul is a tough contract to move, but here's another sense of it. Now, if you can move Clint Capella, somebody who is also a big contract that you gave max money to, you could make the move that once, if he doesn't show improvement and he doesn't do anything, you just let Hassan Whiteside walk. And then you try to look for a trade with Chris Paul. If you can do that and try to get rid of both of them, you can end up having another mixture of fresh cap space, being able to rebuild that franchise very quickly with new superstars, rather than having to wait off that contract with Chris Paul and then hoping the fact that Clint Capella does not have another situation of which he had in those playoffs. Now, of course, for the Miami Heat, what reason would they want to trade with these types of teams? Now, of course, Clint Capella is going to be a way better player as far as in the long run to Hassan Whiteside. You're most likely looking at a Miami Heat team that hasn't been giving Hassan Whiteside much minutes. So why would you want to go with somebody like that for the future? You're obviously not going to give him a big contract that he's going to be wanting in the far future. And if it's with the Charlotte Hornets, you would probably want some type of young talent or draft picks in this trade. You're going to have to understand that you have to have some type of big contract to move with it. And I think the fact that if you're willing to take a big contract, you're probably going to want some type of draft pick. And if you can get a draft pick out of the Charlotte Hornets, they most likely won't finish with a very good record. And with the way that the lottery is now, there's a chance and possibility that you could have a good draft pick in that. But of course, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. What team do you think that Hassan Whiteside should end up going to? Where do you think the Miami Heat should trade him? What team do you think should try to trade for him in this situation out here? Do you think the fact that nobody's going to be very much interested in it? Or do you think the fact that the Miami Heat need to get rid of this contract immediately and try to get something out of him before he just walks? But guys, tell me what your guys' thoughts are on that. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to become part of the Greek Army today. And as always, this is Sparta.